all linked up. We're on. We're rolling. We're good. Thanks for jumping on, boys. Thanks for spending the last hour setting up all this, all this table and shit. I'm super keen to understand, because I know a bit about what you guys do and all that sort of stuff, but I don't actually know the backstory. Like, how did you become friends and what got you into fishing and all that sort of stuff? How did all that play out?
You can start it, Tal.
Yeah, okay. We both sort of joined uni up here at James Cook, and both started studying marine science. And yeah, I come from Brisbane and Beau comes from down south, Melbourne. So we kind of just had the same interest, which is fishing. I know for me, I pretty much just moved up here because I wanted to go fishing up here. So yeah, I just had my little tinny at the time that I brought up from Brisbane that was sort of decked out for like thready and dewy fishing in the Brisbane River, and that's probably how we started. And I can't really remember how we met, but
yeah, definitely at college or at res at uni there, but I think we borrowed a mate's boat and did a crabbing mission down south. I think was the first proper fishing or like camping overnight trip that we did together.
Yeah, that's right. I had my tinny.
Yeah.
And you borrowed that fella's boat with Litzo, and
yeah.
Who did I have in? I had Lockie, Kendrick, maybe. Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Lockie's a good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Brisbane River threadies, and Jewies and stuff. Like, were you there when it was first starting to take off, when people started figuring that shit out and they started finding them and stuff? Or were you one of the pioneers that actually figured it out?
No, I was far from that.
Yeah?
Like,
because it's not that, like, it's in the grand scheme of, like, the fishery, it's new. It's a fair few years old now, but, like...
No, I remember, like, I was probably grade 11, grade 12.
Yep.
And, like, Bowley was just slaying them. All the boys at Tackle World was slaying them, and I sort of just got my boat all done up, and I was just a flathead fisherman with my old man, really. So I had no idea about it, and kind of had to. Me and a mate would just spend countless hours out there, like scanning around, and like we only got a handful of fish, but yeah.
Well, I think one Brisbane River 30 is like a big deal.
Yeah.
Pre-active target days.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All side scan.
Yeah. That's like awful to use now when there's like active target exists, eh? Yeah, crazy. And then you both come up studying marine science. You came and obviously just crossed paths and started hanging out and shit like that. Do you remember your first fishing trip up here?
A first proper one was Bramble Reef off Lucinda there. We borrowed a mate's boat, one of my good mates. Family friends actually, and borrowed, had like a little 60 on the back, little tinny, didn't have a sounder, so we kind of just Google Maps it out to the reef, and
multiple times.
Yeah,
right.
That was the start, really. As soon as we did a bit of the Barra stuff in my tinny, and then we wanted to get out to the reef, it was just. We were borrowing Beau's mate's boat and just sending it out of that boat ramp there, getting a northing from Google Maps, and we'd just go until
you hit the reef.
Hit the reef.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's hectic.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that trip was like? Was it like the first few times when it was like shit hard work?
Mate, wild.
Yeah.
Like perfect conditions.
Yeah.
I had my old little camera too, and I used to taking photos and stuff, so we've got a bit of old footage of some fish and stuff. It's pretty wild to look back on. But
I never remember it being hard because all three of us were just wigging out that much that we were at the reef together. It was just insane. There was really no concept of time or what we were doing. It's that we were there and we were just we had no sounder. There's probably a 6-month period there where we'd drive out to the reef in that boat, and we'd just be like, okay, we want to jig today. Let's just try and think about where 30, 40 metres of water would be, off the edge of the reef, which is not a drop off, and let's just do it.
That is insane to me.
And that's what we did, because we didn't know any better than that, and it was the only opportunity we had to get out there. So it was just awesome.
Wow, that's crazy, because that's like, people think you go to the reef and you just automatically catch fish. Is not how it works. And there's a lot of dead ground between good ground out there, and
paddocks,
man. And just to do that fully blind to get there, and then blind as in guessing depth, and then just like dropping a jig down feels like, oh, that's roughly like just counting on whatever.
Yeah,
ballparking it.
We'd mainly use vibes. That was we'd use vibes a lot back when we had no sounder at all. I don't know. I guess the theory was you'd be creating a bit more disturbance down there, a bit more light. I don't know. But yeah. And
progression from that point, like obviously using sounders and stuff now, like progression from that point to understanding the fishery, like what was that look like? What did that look like to you? Was it hard? Was it a hard slog? What did you learn? Like, what were the big learning curves of that?
Well, first off, with all like the videography stuff, I think we were just sitting on the couch at college, and like we saw some really cool like stuff out the reef that day. Like, wow, we should really like just put a GoPro there and try and like capture some of the coolest shit that we see. And that's where the videography and all that kind of stuff like really kicked off. But I think we have the boat when Tallis's old tinny's gearbox blew up. We just found a little marketplace deal around the corner, and like a little Haynes Hunter prototype. Just sent it from there.
Yeah, they call him a Haynes Traveller. It's just like a little.
I remember those.
Yeah. Like open.
How long is it?
4.5. It was a TD 1.149.
Yeah. Till a steer still.
And that's the boat you're in now, isn't it?
No, we just.
Oh, you just upgraded?
Just upgraded.
Oh, nice.
But we've been running that thing out 100 Ks plus offshore.
Oh, that's so good. It reminds me of me when I was like early 20s, just sending a. That's so good. Circling back to when you first sort of started and stuff, like did you have any like revelations, like, you know, where you're like doing something and then like something changes and you're like, oh fuck, that's like game changing what you learnt, and then you fished that way ever since?
Yeah, well, the whole difference between us going out there and just enjoying being out there and wigging out that we're out at the reef and like we're catching the odd fish on a topwater lure, it changed as soon as we had access to a sounder and we were able to interpret what a sounder was telling us. But yeah, once we got that boat and we were able to like learn to actually scan up ground, like we were able to scan it,
like, you know, especially wonkies.
Wonkies. Like we're able to scan it at 10-15 knots and actually cover ground and find good stuff. That's just amazing.
It makes a huge difference going out there, like taking a different line every time you run to the reef too. Like just go, I've already ran that track, I'll run a different track. Yeah. And then even just spending time like just trolling for Spaniards or something and then just scanning the whole time.
Yeah, that's it. That's
having a sounder that reads at speeds like key to it all. Hey, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wonky holes are surprising too. I forget that they exist, but there's a lot of them after a good wet season. Hey.
Yeah.
I still don't understand the whole concept. Hey,
they're frustrating.
Yeah.
Like we've definitely got a few, and like you said, after the wet season, like sometimes you'll go out there and you'll scan and there'll be absolutely nothing on them.
Like not flowing. And then some days you'll go there and just be absolutely like floor to ceiling with yakkers and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like my understanding of them is that like it's underground, like old riverbeds, right? Because the reef was essentially where land was.
Yeah.
X amount of thousands of years ago. And it's like old riverbeds that run out. So it like seeps into the ground and then runs fresh water out from there.
Yeah.
But some of them, like I've seen dive footage of guys free diving inside wonky holes and shit.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and they're supposed to bring up that nutrients from some fresh water up into that water column, which is what attracts all that bait.
Yeah, and I heard like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard theories that like fish go in there to like clean parasites and stuff that can't handle low salinity.
Yeah, right.
I've heard stuff like that, like under scales and bits and pieces.
For sure.
It makes sense.
It does.
So you normally go there, like, my experience with them is like you go there and you'll get like 1 or 2 like donkey nanagai. Like that's where you go to get real big ones, like 90 pluses, or big stinking gold spot cod.
Yeah, we've had a few of them.
Yeah, dirty dogs. But then the reef, like all of those, that sort of, I don't know, 45 to 55 meter stuff is where you go and get like your school nanagai, nanagai, like 75s, 80s, stuff like that. Got good esky fillers.
Yeah, that's really what we've sort of concentrated the past probably 6 months of fishing towards. Like we've probably only just sort of discovered that type of ground, and it's just so much fun, eh?
Like nanagai fishing, or just that sort of depth, and just like that, jigging lumps and bits and pieces.
Like you said, like that depth, jigging, like just finding that ground and finding those types of fish, because we never would have been able to get to targeting those fish with the setup we had at the start. You know, we were just dreaming watching people catch them on YouTube and stuff. That was just, I never could have comprehended that I probably would have caught a nanagai or a red right now if we were talking, you know.
Yeah.
And you got some donkeys too. Like I had a bit of a squiz through your socials, like, because I don't really do much scrolling, but I thought I'll do a quick little bit of research just in case, like, you're dud talkers and I got to bring up some shit. But I think we're good. But I just did a little bit of a look, and you caught some like really big reds recently, and they're hard enough to get. Like nanagai aren't too bad. Like cockroaches of the sea, you'll eat a bit of anything. Reds I find are way harder, especially on jigs and things like that.
Yeah.
It used to be like a thing that you'll never catch one, like years ago. There was very, very rare circumstances where you'd catch a red emperor on a jig, but now there's like heaps of people doing it that I know of, and donkeys too.
Yeah, we're slowly kind of like learning about like all the different ground and like what to look for in the side scan imaging, and like we've started to find some like really good ground offshore now in the deeper stuff. But
everything good happens deeper than 38. Is my opinion.
There's a range that's just like that's the sweet spot.
I love like 38 to 45, 38 to 50. It's like primo, because you still get like donkey trout, and all that sort of stuff. You can go deeper and you'll get more too, but like I don't know, I like a lot of the stuff that I've got out there, because like that's pretty much my prime ground, is like off of Lucinda or straight off of here. Is like reds in like 55 plus, and then nanagai and like good coral trout and stuff like that on the jig. Sub that, like 38 to 45, 38 to 55. That's crazy.
And you know when you hook them too, like straight away. Because the sharks are so bad now.
They're getting worse.
Oh, it's crazy. Like the past few trips we've had out there, if you hook a red or a nanny and you know it is, we're just, whoever's on the throttle is just burning. Like, or the theory I've tried to follow is try and fight them in the first couple meters of that water column down below, and then once you reckon you've got them, while also thinking about where the reef is and you're fighting the fish, then just go ham, get them up, because I feel like all the sharks are hanging out in that section of the water column, which is, I don't know, 10-15 meters above where they're actually eating, and just waiting. So I've kind of been trying to do that.
Sorry, you going to say something?
No, I was just thinking, like, since we've been doing that, like, we've started to actually get some numbers off them.
For sure.
Like, it definitely works.
It definitely does work, for sure.
Yeah, and get them tired. So what you're saying is get them tired in the first few meters. Like, just keep them out of the rocks, but like keep them down there until they're tired, and then just like winch them in.
Hook them, get a couple turns on them so they're just off the bottom, and then just fight them in that first couple meters. And then once you reckon they're buggered and they're not going to pull drag again,
that's an interesting theory.
Rip them up.
I've never thought of that. That's a good idea. It makes sense.
It was Robbie, the old fella, works here at Tackle World. We have had multiple extended conversations at work about that, and he told me that one day, and I was like, I've got to try it, and it works.
That makes sense. It dead set makes sense, because you normally lose your fish like I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. Up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, right. Because I think, like, what's your theory on sharks? Do you reckon, like, they're definitely getting worse, but do you think they're getting worse because there's more people out in the water? I don't think people say there's more sharks. I tend to probably disagree. I would tend to say that more people are out in the water, so it's more advertised that there are sharks out fucking everybody's day. But also, like, sharks have so much opportunity because there's boats everywhere now. Like, you go out to Lucinda on a flat day, you'll see the boat ramp, people park like hundreds of trailers, and then you'll go out there and you'll see boats galore. It's like those sharks can go boat to boat to boat, and they can travel a bit of distance. You can troll, and there'll be a bronze whaler like in your wake swimming with you, waiting for you to stop again, like while you're scanning around and shit's weird. Do you think that there's more sharks, or do you think that they're just more switched on to it because they're exposed to more fishermen?
Definitely more switched on. Like, I think they're just becoming like a lot smarter. Like, they'll just recognise like boat engine like noise and recognise that there might be food around. Yeah. Like, we've had a time where we've hooked a fish on the jig, moved probably a couple 100 metres, pulled, hooked another fish, but then eventually got that shark up. They got sharked. It had that like same jig in it from a couple 100 metres back. So they kind of...
Right. Yeah, it's premeditated, I reckon. Like, it's out of control. The last trip we went out in the new boat, we pulled up to the first mark and kind of looked down, and you could already see it was just like Valley City, and we were all just wigging out that we were out there for the first time in our new boat. So the boys dropped a jig down, and I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Bludgers.
Yeah.
Dirty bastards.
But one of the boys just put the GoPro like down in the water. They got a big long pole for the GoPro, and mate, someone hooks this bludger, and you can see the sharks like following the fish before they even grab the jig, and then as soon as they grab the jig, it was just like Sharknado. The footage is sick. I'll show it to you. It's crazy.
Full tornado.
Yeah, it's literally a shark tornado is the way to explain it. They were just like...
They just wait for you to do the hard work and hook the fish to make it slow down.
Yeah.
That's crazy, eh? Yeah. They're definitely not stupid.
No. And that was a bludger too. Like, yeah.
Nasty. So you said that you committed to... My mic is too loud. It's fucking giving me grief. You said that like the last 6 months or so, you put in the time, like committed to that sort of deeper water jigging and stuff. What made you want to try that, and why weren't you doing that prior? Did you have a top water addiction before that or something?
Yeah. We probably thought that was the only thing we could do at that time, the top water stuff. Like when we're out there with a sounder that didn't really have the capabilities, or without the sounder, like we were always just throwing top water. But then once we got onto an echo map and we could actually see the bottom, there was probably one trip at a specific zone where we started catching those fish a little bit closer to the reef than what we thought we should have, and that was kind of the first taste. And then we were like, okay, let's explore more of this ground in this sort of depth. And then we use Bali maps a lot now. That's probably our go-to. If we're going to go to a new zone, we'll just get a heap of reference points going.
Bathymetry is the best.
Yeah,
so
even if you just find a nipple that's like quite large, right? Yeah. And it's just something that just gives you a rise and just pushes a bit of current around funny.
Yeah.
And then finding a rock on that little rise, like you find one rock and you can nearly always guarantee.
Yeah.
We used to do a lot of stuff just driving around with the sounder on bottom lock. Giving away everyone's secrets here. Sounder on bottom lock, like in 1 meter. Yeah, you're going to have to sort of dance around it a little bit. But also, like, I kind of like the idea of like sharing knowledge, because you still got to have a boat and be able to get out there, and you still got to understand tides and moon and all that sort of stuff to do well, you know what I mean?
There's so much you got to connect.
I could give you GPS coordinates to one of my fucking best rocks, but you still got to be able to go there and figure out when it fishes.
Yeah, that's right.
And that'll take you a fair fucking while, and I probably would have found 5 more rocks since then. So, like, it's hard, but you still sort of, like, you own that intellectual property, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a degree. So, with your sounders, like, what we used to do is put bottom lock on, have a sounder that would read on the plane, have bottom lock on and put it on 1 metre increments on one side.
Yeah.
So anytime you went over a rock, it only might even be like half a metre or a metre.
Mm-hmm.
But when it had like 2 or 3 metres of bait on it, on the sounder, because it's in 1 metre increments, it would just spike.
Okay.
Massively spike.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh shit, like you can't miss it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're scanning full wide at bottom, it's like a little half metre blip with a little bit of shit on it, and you're like, nah, and you'll keep driving.
Yeah.
Whereas you'll fully see like a big spike, half metre rise with 3 metres of bait.
Yeah.
You can nearly guarantee that there'll be fish on that. And sometimes Nanagai are just on different bottom. They're not even on a lump. They're just on like, might be the slightest little rise that only might be like a 50 metre patch, and it'll just be like a little bit shaly or something.
That's it, just like a shoal.
Yeah.
But yeah. We've been running the side scan on
that deep.
That sort of stuff, like probably like your 35 to 45 metres that deep. And real slow. Super slow on
with the right frequency.
Really
like
low,
450 and less.
Really low frequency.
Yeah, right.
And it works. You're just looking for the tiniest little disturbances out either side, and you can see them.
Yeah, that's a whole different like ball game too. Like I've never done that. I've done it in shallow, like 15, 25 inshore bits and pieces, looking for rock fingers, for finger mark and things like that. But I've never done it out in that deep.
Yeah, the only downside is you've literally got to be like going like less than 5 knots, like 2-3 knots, putting around.
Once you're in the general area with your the barley, that's what we usually would do.
Once we're in that area, we're like, okay, we know they're here.
Yeah,
we pop that out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And then that's like, it's one of those things where you just sort of got to commit. And like, if you lose half a day and you don't really get any fish that day, but you go and find 10, 15 spots, that's a good day's fishing. Yeah. Regardless if you come home without anything in the esky, because then if you go back out there and then you just work those spots, you're solely out there fishing the whole time. Yeah. Until you work it out how to fish it. It's a good theory. Like a lot of people go out and like just have a shit day, like they won't catch any fish and they'll think it was a shit day. Yeah. But as if you're marking ground and figuring out the pieces to the puzzle, that's like a win in my book, I think. Yeah, for sure. Plus what you said too with like, I remember if I keep bumping this fucking mic, I remember going out to the reef for the first time, and it'd been very similar to what you just said earlier with like, go out there and you're like, you can see it on TV, you can see it, photos of it, you can hear people talk about all that sort of stuff, but then you go up and you come up onto the reef flat and you're like, holy shit, this is like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, like out of this world. Crazy. How are you, like those first few times, how are you supposed to think about tides and like bite times and stuff when it's like the first time you've seen it or the first couple times you've seen it? There's no expectation really, fishing wise. Yeah, the first time I went out with an old friend of mine, and he took me out, and like we killed it on fish. Yeah. So I was like, this place is fucking insane. And then like once I started to do it all myself and get my own shit and my boats and all that sort of stuff, when I was like, this is extremely difficult. Yeah. It's like not easy. No. What made you transition? Actually, let's go back a little bit further. You went out to the reef and you started mucking around and all that sort of stuff. You've upgraded your boats and done all that sort of stuff. What made you get into top water? Silly question, I know, but like, why did you decide to do that instead of continue fishing deeper water like you were previously? Probably. I'll let you grab this one.
Well, we kind of started like with top water, and we've always just loved it. Like just on stick baits all day. It's the best fun.
Yeah, on the reef flats.
Probably again with the understanding. Like we'd probably just go up on the reef flat there when we first started fishing the reef and throw lures around without really having understanding of when the best time to fish a reef flat was. And then as soon as you get into that deeper stuff and you have more understanding of the tide and the run and where's going to fish better at a certain time on the reef, that was probably when we could really target a trip, like when there was going to be a lot of run, we'd want to go and fish like on top of the reef, because like for us that was the best time to go and do that sort of stuff. So yeah, getting around your moon phases and your tides and stuff would always transition us from the deep water to the shallow water top
depending
water
on
stuff.
the time in the month.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, reef flats low tide on spring tides, man. There's not much more fun, especially on like semi-light gear too.
Yeah.
It's something else. I like lost the love for top water because I did so much of it for so long.
Yeah.
But I forget like how enjoyable it is just
Yeah.
out there throwing stickies, because you end up with anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Chinaman, spangos, longnose emperor,
Yeah.
trout, like
The visual aspect is very appealing.
yeah, 100%.
And like, yeah, that time we went out with Ben, we hadn't done much topwater stuff for probably a very long time. And then like we went down there with Ben, did a heap of flats fishing, a heap of GTs in shallow water. Honestly, that's probably the time I sort of clicked over and went, okay, the top water's just as good as the deep stuff.
And that was some serious fishing.
Yeah,
too.
that was crazy. The second day on that trip, I did not. There was a time there, I did not want to cast a topwater lure because I knew I was going to hook up, and my arms were fucked.
Yeah, really.
Fucked.
That's when you know it's bad.
And I just knew. I knew if I cast over there, I'm gonna hook up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. When you have sessions like that, wow.
And that was that trip with Benny. That
Yeah.
you just did that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been to the reefs off there.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, totally different zone for us too. New species, like
Different reef structure, those flats, though, with nothing that
different.
we had fished ever before.
No.
Like really huge bombies and like deep 10, 15, at least, 15 metres of water.
Yeah, the top of the reef flat was significantly deeper on those reefs than the reefs up here.
Yeah, right.
Like you get real shallow up here on top of those atolls, and then down there, the reef structure was really like on top of that flat there. It was really deep. The
like isolated bombies and like heaps of salmon. Yeah, that's the shit.
Channels, like it was just nuts. Like, you could see the water pumping. Yeah.
There's a few off Townsville. I won't say them on here,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you after. There's a few that you'll get that, and it's out that way. That are really good. That's interesting. Yeah, right. So
Heaps of wrasse, like
yeah,
in that zone.
yep.
And we'd never seen them before.
Yeah, I'd never seen one in my
I've-
life. And Ben
I've never
pulls up
seen
like
one.
this 30-kilo fish,
It's bigger than that.
40.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
huge.
ridiculous.
Should have been an aquarium, that thing. It was
They-
that big.
I've never caught one. I've seen heaps diving, like spearfishing and stuff, heaps of them. But never caught them. Been in boats with people that have caught them and stuff, but they're pretty. And then you seem to get them down like, it's one of those things like you get south of Cape Upstart, so you start getting Bowen Way, and then from there through to central Queensland, the reef systems are just completely different. And just, I reckon they're borderline better. And then you get north of Cairns and start heading Cape York Way, and then that again. Like off of here, it's like, yeah, they're good, but they're not like as good, I don't reckon.
Yeah.
Even like, I don't know what the answer to this theory is, but like, it seems harder here to get Nanagai and Reds on jigs than it does off of like Bowen, Airlie, Proserpine Way.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm going to be exploring that in the next year or two.
You going down there?
Yeah, I've only just started working down there in Mackay, so we've kind of been planning fishing trips in between at the moment. Well, we've only just bought the new boat, so I've kind of been tearing up here when the weather's been good, and we've been sort of going and fishing the stuff what we're used to fishing. But yeah, I'm excited to start exploring some new stuff down there. We've done a little bit, like a little bit off Airlie recently, like north of Airlie, and like some pretty wild ground out there and heaps to explore out there.
It's just a long way to the reef, but
It
like,
is.
it's
It
not
is.
that bad. If you go off of Townsville, it's maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 mile further than that.
Yeah, that's it.
But you've got a lot of islands like on the way out that help you cover from wind a little bit if it gets nasty on the way home.
Yeah.
Whereas off of Townsville, you go off Townsville and you got fucking nothing.
No.
From literally the moment you leave the Cape,
Yeah.
you're in open water until you hit the reef.
Yeah, that's it.
Especially in, old 4.5
Yeah.
and the tiller, like,
Open.
it would have been...
Slinging off a tiller,
Too
I remember
wild.
doing that too. Slinging off a tiller steer all the way out the reef and back when it's blowing up, because it normally always blows up in the afternoon, especially in that Lucinda jetty, like, is nasty. and like coming back in, and you're that sore from hanging onto a tiller steer arm.
Mate.
What boat did you upgrade to? It was a secret.
It's a bit of a touchy subject. A Gale Force 5 metre.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles.
Brand spanner or?
Nah, second hand. But yeah, got a 115 Yami on the back, so it sings along pretty nicely.
It's a lot different to what we're used to.
Yeah.
Why is it a touchy subject?
Oh, we just had a few issues, but you know,
with the seller, or just with the boat in general.
Yeah, both.
That happens.
Nah, but like, I guess at the same time, you've always got to expect that with a second-hand boat. Like, there's always going to be stuff that you don't like, and you got to fix up. And it's just unfortunate that it's a bit of a bigger issue. But at the same time, it's going to be a weapon, and it is a weapon. We've taken it out there. We've just had some issues with the fuel tank, which we can't obviously access in a glass boat. So yeah, that's our next project that we've got to sort of kick off in the next couple of weeks. Yes. And you know what? I was so pissed off about it, but I've just I've passed that mindset now. I'm just like, okay, like this just has to be done, and it's going to be fun to do it. And once it's done, we know that we've done everything, and it should be right.
Yeah, it's a good little learning curve too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. And knowing where you own, like where your fuel lines are and and like all that knowledge, like even just a patch of fuel tank on the go, like all that sort of stuff, like know where shit is in your boat, how things are wired, where things are.
Yeah.
So like, because you're pretty alone when you get out the reef, like there's not much like help.
Nah.
Not without like calling somebody or whatever else and copping a $1,000 Coast Guard bill.
Nah, we knew where our flares were a week ago.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Tell the story.
Yeah, no, well, we just encountered the issues that the boat has got. There's obviously just a leak in the fuel tank. There's somewhere where water's getting into the fuel.
Yep.
Like our separator's full of water, and our fuel economy is half of what it should be. So it went for its service, and like there's no damage to the motor. The motor's brand new. It's had like 115 hours on it. And yeah, we've just got to get into that floor and replace that fuel tank is what we're assuming it is. But like it took us 3 weeks of using the boat. We probably only had 3 trips in it. We went down to Proserpine, did that one reef trip to actually find out what the problem was. And
that always happens too.
Yeah.
Well, probably should also find out where the water's getting in your boat to get into the fuel tank too. Is probably not.
Yeah, well, we know about that. There's like a little, what is it? The Gale Force fellas were telling us about it.
Yeah, I'm just talking to a fella who knows the Mr. Gale Force apparently. The fella who owns it, so he's giving me a heap of info.
Nice.
So it shouldn't be too bad.
No, hopefully.
Yeah, but the flare situation, we're like 100 k's off Lucinda, like shelf, and we just had troubles for like ages, and there was nearly an EPIRB, and we were just waiting, and then we just saw someone trolling out the distance.
The first boat we'd seen all day,
like a big tournament, and our boat with the canopy just snuck under his outriggers. It was that big. But
we had to set off a flare, which was pretty funny at the end of the day.
I'll just have to stop
tapping
sorry.
on the
No, it's all good. Don't apologise. It's all good. Everyone does it. It's all good. Yeah, right. So you had to set a flare off to him to go and get you and tow you back?
Nah, well, we cleaned out that separator, and then obviously lost all that pressure. So there was no fuel getting to our motor, and
we couldn't bypass it, and all the
thought of everything.
All the lines were glued. It was a mess.
Nasty.
And then once they come over and had a yarn, we finally got it going, and we were sweet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to turn it off after that.
No, we actually still stayed the night out there.
Yeah, we did.
Fucking lunatic. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, right. Oh well, it sounds like you're on the mend anyway. Like it's gonna.
Yeah.
like once you get that sorted.
And like the range in that thing, like actually being safe going fishing is going to be nice. Like my parents have been freaking out for the past 2 years because they know what we're doing. Like going out that far in a little open tiller. It's so much more comforting going out in that thing. You actually do feel safe.
You can fish. You get more fish too, in my opinion, because you're covering more ground. You're more confident to go wider. You go more. You do more exploring. You learn more stuff. Yeah, it's definitely a value add. Yeah. So you both chipped in like money to purchase the boat. That's cool.
Yeah, well, we did that for the first one too. That little Haynes Traveller, and then just did the same again.
Yeah, so just halves everything. It's pretty cheap actually.
Yeah, it's great.
New stereo system, half price.
Yeah. Everything's half price.
Yeah, well, true. That's a good way of thinking about it, to be honest. What made you decide? Like, obviously, he's a good friend, which obviously helped the cause. But like, what made you decide to get in together and sort of build FNQ Travellers and turn it into like essentially a brand, right? Like, what made you decide to do that?
I think when we first made the account, I think we really just wanted to share with all our mates and our family at home what we were actually doing up here. For me, like, I was like probably one of 2 people in my mates group or like in my grade that actually moved away from Brisbane. And I don't know, I just felt like no one really knew what we were doing, and it's the coolest shit ever, and I just want to share it with the people back at home, really, for me. And then in terms of like splitting everything, I just feel like, I don't know, he's a good enough mate that I can trust and all that type of stuff to actually do that with someone. I don't know if I'd be able to do it with any of my other mates, to be honest.
It's just been fun. Like, it's just been a gradual stepping stone of just shit that we like doing. It's not, I don't know, it's just a gradual process, I guess. And
did you have plans when you first, well, obviously not, like to turn it into a thing? Or do you have like a monetized thing or a sponsored thing, or like to build it into something bigger? Or is that just something that's developed now, and are you still trying to do that?
We've definitely got some things on the horizon that we're like really working to, and have like got our mindsets to really push towards, but just kind of try and turn it all into the office, I guess. But obviously still very loyal with Mick and Ben and Tackle World and everyone that like backs us as well. So
yeah, I think that's where it started for us. Like, we started just posting photos of what lures we were catching fish on, and like looking up to all those fellas that were doing it already, and then like getting just a casual gig in here at Tackle World Townsville was just like huge. Like, you can imagine, like
in a candy store,
a young fella who's like just moved away from home up here, started fishing. He's got a job at a tackle store. Like, that is just like insane. I couldn't believe it when I first started. No, that's kind of where it started for us. Well, for me anyway, like all your colleagues in here are real specialised with the types of fishing they're doing. Like I got to meet reps. I got to meet Mick Hassett and like all those fellas that had come in here regularly.
Live and breathe it, yeah. And that are a bit of a name in the industry, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And well, I remember that day where our journey started with cast was just the most random thing. I was working here at the tackle shop, and we just kind of been putting away, just posting as much as we could on Instagram. And then like I just got a call on my phone, and when I picked it up, it was, "Hey mate, this is Ben Jones."
How did you get your
GT
number?
Buster. I don't actually know. Or maybe it was...
It was a plan pre-call.
Or was it a plan pre-call?
The first thing was just a little Instagram like video.
Yes, it was.
Like, we're sending you.
Yeah, and then once he got contact details, he called my phone in here, and it was a bit of a freak out. Yeah. someone who you'd been looking up to, and obviously like wanted to work with. They were calling you and telling you that your content was pretty damn cool
shit. Yeah.
And that he wanted to support whatever we were doing, and kind of asked us, if we wanted to really be part of the cast culture, and that was sick. Like as soon as that happened, I remember I came home because we were living at college at the time, and I remember I was having a look at my phone. I think we had like 400 followers on Instagram, and I remember there was like a video, we had a couple beers and it was celebrating cast and 400 followers or something. We were
came up the other day.
Yeah. I think Beau and I just got smashed at college on a random weekday just because we thought that was sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. That's good.
Yeah, crazy.
It does. It happens so quickly like that.
Yeah.
Where it just sort of just turns into a thing like immediately. And like 400 followers then was like a big deal, and 400 followers now is like, oh yeah, that's okay. Like it's like another 400 followers.
Yeah.
It's interesting how it all sort of works, and it's interesting. I've had this conversation with multiple different people too, is like with sponsorships and stuff, and my experience with them is like the ones, and I don't sponsor anybody, or I don't own a fishing business that does sponsor anybody, but to me, like, you can be out there asking for sponsorship and chasing it, and just because you want to be sponsored by a brand, which is a lot of kids do that these days, and I don't think it's a healthy way of doing it. Or you can just commit to doing what you love and doing it well, and you'll get noticed anyway. It takes one person to share a reel or a video or a photo, and then get it crossed into the right hands, because the fishing industry is so small. Like, it's not hard to know everybody in the game, and then for someone to pick that up and run with it too. And Benny and Mick have always been good at like giving young dudes opportunities too, because it does help, like just free or cheap gear and all that sort of stuff. It does help you, regardless of like whether you want to do it doesn't pay you money, but it can put you on a path to make money. Yeah,
that's it.
To a point. So you go.
No, and like what was great about sort of being part of that group, like Ben and Mick both openly said, like, use the lures you want to use. Like, we don't care if you guys want to use other people's stuff. Like, that's sick. And if you like these other lures and people are using them and you want to use them, like, that's great. It never felt like we were locking ourselves into anything, which was awesome too. And at the same time, they backed us and wanted to support us through our journey, which was great.
Yeah, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people too. Is like, there's enough. I say this a lot. There's enough room in the game for everybody, right? So like, you might not want to use those lures, or they might not have a lure that works as good as somebody else's in this specific occasion. But instead of looking at like that as a bad thing, look at it as an opportunity to improve. One, either for yourself to figure out how to get those lures to work, or for a supplier or a manufacturer or whatever to go, well, fuck, there's a gap in my game. Like, I need to get better. And then they put a product in the market that directly competes with something else. So then the competitor goes, okay, well then how do we how do we improve on ours? And then it lifts the industry, and then everybody wins, because everybody makes more money. Everybody gets higher quality, better performing shit, and everybody wins. Because there's like, I don't know, you can't control the whole fishing market, and it's so easy to make lures these days. Yeah, you can get nearly anything you want from China. Yeah, that's it. Battle tested stuff, different story, I think. That's cool. Fill me on where the filming idea started, and how long you've been doing that for, and like what, because you've been doing like little edits and like vlog style stuff, which I think is fucking sick. So like, where did all that start? What was the concept there?
Just the old camera kind of started. My little old Nikon.
Little DSLR,
Yeah. I don't know why I even bought it. I just used to like taking random photos, and took it up here when I moved up here, and I just kind of took it everywhere we went and just started filming. There's one really old video on the YouTube which is pretty funny. It only goes for 3 minutes, but I don't know, it's something pretty funny to look back on.
But now you guys are punching out pretty consistent content, right? Like, why aren't you just going fishing? Like, why are you deciding to spend the time? Because that takes time. Like, it's not to pick a camera up and fuck around with the fish and do all that sort of stuff. It takes extra time, right? So why do you prioritize that equally as much as fishing itself?
Probably for me, I love that like I said before, I love
Sharing it.
that my parents and like my siblings at home can see it, because I know they love it. But yeah, at the same time, I really do just want to showcase what we're doing, like as much as we can. Really, like the YouTube stuff it's been tough. It takes so much time to actually produce that higher quality content, and we probably only just started recently trying to get more consistent content out there on YouTube. But the Instagram, I love the whole concept of the reels and like those short, sharp videos. For me anyway, I like that reel concept. I really do like it. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
you look deep in thought.
Don't worry.
It's for me, it's just fun making reels. I love it. I like being able to put some video behind some music and watch it. For me, yeah.
It's always something pretty sick to look back on.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Any significant sort of things that you've captured or wish you'd captured? Weird shit that happens, because some shit happens out there that's so random, and then you're like, holy shit, I wish I caught that on video.
Just a lot of drone stuff. I feel like aerial shots, like we
Aerial
haven't-
eats and things, or
Yeah,
just-
we've got a couple like eats like on the fuses and stuff, but we don't use the drone as much as we probably should.
For me, probably impoundment barra hookups are just crazy and hard to capture, because the way we fish it, you'll get a couple bites each session, and you can't really have the camera rolling for that long. And at the same time, I don't want to be mucking around with a GoPro camera and like putting it on my head and stuff, when I could just have the line in the water for as long as I possibly can. But some of those really slow eats, like on a real tough bite, are just sick.
Like
those,
on active target and stuff you're talking?
No,
on
side scan. We use side scan, and sort of fish, I don't know, like 5 to 8 meters in depth, and they'll come through, and one of the boys will yell out 10 meters to the right, and we'll cast out 10 meters to the right. Well, that last trip we had last week was just the slowest jerkbait bite ever. Like, you get it out there in that range of where that fish was coming through, and you literally dead stick your jerkbait for like 8 to 10 seconds and then burn it, and then they just absolutely pump it. And that was the only way they were eating, like during that session. So being able to capture a bite like that would be pretty sick. Like, just your jerkbait there,
Especially
dead sticking, little burn, and then whack.
Yeah, your first cast of the day too was
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah,
It was like morning session. It was like 3 o'clock, and then we're like, Orlando yells out 14 to the left. Tallis like
14 meters.
14 meters.
Not 15, 14.
Yeah,
It was 14,
yeah, that's specific.
14 meters to the left.
And next minute, 14 minutes to the left.
Yeah, bang.
On.
Good fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
Some of them go stupid too.
They
Some
do
of them
go
fight
stupid.
proper hard.
Well, those ones that I got in that 80 to 90 centimetre range were just thick and healthy and like just nuts. They went berserk. Whereas the ones that I caught in the shallower water that were punching that metre mark or over that metre mark were like half sluggish.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like just real skinny and long and pretty sluggish, whereas those ones in that 80-90 centimetre range were like bullets that we caught in a bit deeper water. They were nuts.
Have you done much saltwater barramundi stuff?
Not really.
Nah.
And I was thinking about this the other day. I think the reason why is I had that tinny setup for the threadies and the dewy stuff. Come up here, started doing it for probably like a couple months, and then my old man was like, "Nah, you're selling that thing." My clearance from where I was standing on my casting deck to the water was like less than. It was like 15 centimeters. If a croc wanted me, it would have me.
You were gone.
Yeah. So Dad was like, "Sell that thing as soon as you can." So that was probably the end of the saltwater barra stuff. And then as soon as we had access to get out to the reef, it's been that ever since.
Right. What when you went out, so say when you first got a boat with the sound of the Haynes and whatever else, what did you have a specific species in mind when you went out there?
What are you thinking?
Not really. I don't know. We just gave it like a red hot crack. There wasn't any.
It was.
What were you using actually? Just out of curiosity, were you bait fishing at that time, or what were you doing?
No, it was like.
So you've been artificial since day dot.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Not a lot of people start like that.
We have done a little bit of bait fishing. Like a couple of the boys that we live with have got, we call them battle buses, like big tin boats that we go out in every now and then, and like we'll have a good bait session and
Esky fillers.
Yeah, like
they're the best.
Like yeah, they are. And
go
like,
out, fish one tide change and just fill an esky and then go fuck around the flats and stuff after that or whatever.
Like we've done a fair bit of that, but no, we pretty much have been artificial since day dot. Yeah, it was all using vibes in like 30 meters of water with no sounder and just hoping, and then the top water stuff to start.
What vibes in roughly 30 meters of water? What were you getting mostly? Like apart from the shit you didn't want, like what were the trophy
trout
fish?
And red throat is what we were chasing.
Red throat smoke vibes, man. They go so hard for their size.
They do.
They go ham.
And they're underrated table fish too, I reckon.
Do you reckon?
I reckon.
I don't like them as much.
Really?
I don't not eat them. I think they're delicious, but like they're not out of everything. Like I would choose to fill the esky with other shit before I put red throat in there if I can help it.
Yeah. I agree as well, but
they're definitely going the esky.
They're going.
Yeah, they definitely. If they're up, they're dead. For sure, because it's a waste otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm sitting on a bommy and it's just full of them bastards, I'll move. Like, go and get a couple of trout off it and leave.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out on like during like not when the closure's on, but when there's trout spawning like springtime and stuff, and you're sitting on a bommy and you jig like 15, 500, 600 long trout?
No.
That happens every now and then. Hey.
Yeah. Right.
They're just like, I don't know what they're doing down there, but there's like a squillion trout on one rock.
Yeah, wow.
And you just fish after fish after fish as a trout.
Yeah.
Hectic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then top water, that's a hard learning curve if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember like some of the first few trips we'd go out not really having any idea of what we're doing. We'd have a crazy top water session, and then other days we'd go out and we'd catch nothing. And we'd be like,
why?
What the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a little fishing book.
Yeah,
that
we do.
We've got all the specifics and.
Yeah, we got a little fishing book that we record our trips in.
Yeah.
You know, your moon phases, your tides, when you caught fish, what you caught fish on. It's so important. And you don't realise how important it is until you start doing it.
I've got 2 waterproof notebooks, chockers with Barra info from NNT.
That's
wow.
Exact same, recorded every single trip.
Yeah.
And then got a little sticky note, like the little tabs, different coloured tabs on good days and bad days.
Yeah.
Write at the date and everything and write it chronologically in order. So then you go, okay, I'm back in March or whatever.
Yeah.
Flick to the green tabs, check all them. Oh, this tide's very close.
That is smart.
See, I was trying to think about a way I could order it as well.
Yeah.
So that's smart with the little tabs.
So when you've had absolute like mayhem sessions, get a little something just to identify that page in particular and remember the month or whatever time of year that it was on, and then go, oh, like the water temperature and stuff is very similar to what we're on today, and it's very similar tides to this day. So then you've got these other giving away all my secrets. No, so those tabs, they can peel off, right? And they can move around your book. So I go, okay, well, I open it up to whatever, it might be this rough idea of dates that were good. We caught a heap of fish on this location, yada, yada. They go, oh no, that day was better, so I'll peel it off and I'll stick it on the day that was better, and then I keep referencing that day.
Yeah.
And then I'll number. I didn't do a lot of this, but I did number. I can't remember how I did it, but I numbered. So then in my other book that I wrote, it's because obviously like you're recording the day that you're on based on the day that you had.
Yes.
So then you have a day that's similar.
Yeah.
So then those two tabs have numbers on them that correlate with each other.
Yeah.
So this book might have I think it was like a 2.1 or whatever, and this book might be 2.2, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So then you know that it correlates, and you go, okay, well, I've had 6 sessions on these same set of tides at this location with these weather conditions or moon conditions or sun conditions or whatever else.
Yeah.
And I've slayed them every single time, so that is the time I need to be here to fish. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it.
I went down the rabbit hole with it.
Yeah. I find myself, like, if we're planning a trip, I just go back in the book and I just shuffle through and read every single one, and then I kind of just like hold a page if I've got a page that has similar conditions to what we're about to fish, and then just keep shuffling and having a look instead of the tab and numbers thing. But maybe I need to give the tab and numbers thing a go.
The other thing you can do is like pull all the real good pages out, and then keep them somewhere, and then just scroll through them.
Or maybe if you've got a characteristic that you really think that type of fishing is dependent on, you could then grab that and group them into sort of a characteristic.
Spring tides,
moon book
type book.
Yeah, like a moon book. Well,
Yeah.
if we're doing what you guys do, a moon book would be would be key. Like this percentage waxing, this percentage waning, new moon, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Moon rise at, moon set at,
Yeah.
moon overhead at, moon underfoot at.
A 95 to 100% waxing book. And then
Literally.
Just slowly make all these books.
Yeah.
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 No, it goes to show, one, because like you've progressed so quickly, and two, like it is a way of actual strategic growth, whereas you're not out there flogging the same dead horse waiting. Like I'm dead against, and a lot of people just like going out and just going hard, and that's fine if you enjoy it, that's beautiful, but I'm the sort of person that would like to put in the time, and I'd prefer, like if I was going to go barra fishing, I would love to just go out for half a day, fish one set of tides, brain the motherfuckers, and then go home.
Yeah.
But I have also fished a lot, like where it's like not a chore, but like I like just going out and having a session. But then some days I guess it's nice to spend out all day on the water and mucking around too. But like I really like the idea of strategizing when you fish, because it's such a good feeling when you go out the reef. I'm going to go hit these spots in order based on just chase the tide and chase whatever else with the wind, and then you go to all of those spots and nearly all of them work. It's such a sick feeling when that pays off.
Yeah. For me too, I was just thinking about it, that learning that progressed really quickly. I think both of us doing our marine science degrees and sort of both getting into a field now where we're looking at that stuff for our job, that kind of kicked me in the arse and went, wow, this stuff is actually real. Like the fish feeding at this certain time, they're moving here at this certain time.
So there's actual science behind it, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Like that really kicked me in the arse, probably.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Have you done much stuff out on the hard line and wider shelf?
Jigging out the shelf we've done a little bit of, but we've never really gone past or like done any of the doggy type stuff, anything wild like that. It's mainly just sort of been like your reef species, your trout in that sort of country.
Do you reckon you'll get into doggies now that you've got this boat and once it's all set up and stuff?
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Definitely. It probably wasn't a safe option in the last boat to really send it out there and like chase doggies or go super wide, but I feel like now's definitely a great opportunity once we get everything rolling to get out there.
You
Really
probably would have fallen over the side of the boat if you were throwing around a PEA jigging setup.
That's it.
In the little Traveller. That would have been nuts.
You whinge about sharks now. Wait till you start doing dog tooth.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah. Driving job?
Yeah.
I
fucked around with that here, and then I did a fair stint in Vanuatu. they drive off a lot.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of fish, just to get them upright, because your line angle changes when you when you're driving. So as you drive off, the line angle changes and your fish lift.
Yeah.
Like it sort of rises.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that let them run to a point. Like, but it's hard though, right? Depends on where you hook them, because like if you're fishing and they're on like a full steep ledge, the first thing they do is go down.
Yeah, okay.
So you let them over there and you get busted.
Yeah.
But if you can fish on the right side of that and let them go down until they're tired, and fight them that way is an option too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that do it all sorts of different stuff. I don't know many people that land the real big ones. They're like a lucky chance type deal. Because like we were fishing in Vanuatu P10 and just full locked drag.
Yeah.
And just just buried to the gun, or like can't move.
Yeah.
And I remember top water stuff too, just like fridges swimming around hitting top water lures, man. Scary shit. And just you can't do anything. Like they were peeling line off P10 lock drag on like saltigas and stuff.
Yeah,
like
crazy.
Whole next level fish. Super cool, but like
Yeah.
just going out there and targeting them and stuff.
Yeah. I can't wait. It is. It's going to open up so much more possibility.
Because you can also go out right and fish bait balls and stuff wide, and you can get wahoo and dolphin fish, like all that sort of stuff too in the middle of nowhere. Yellowfin,
all that trolling kind of stuff. Like, would it be mostly trolling?
You do get them for wahoo and that, but you can cast like on glass out days. You can see yellowfin schools and bits and pieces feeding the bait and things.
Yeah, it's a lot to learn in that space for sure.
And then if you've got a sounder that can read properly and you're willing to put in the physical work, reeling the fucking things in, like jigging for flame tail and all that rubies and stuff, sick as.
Yeah, there's a lot more to do. Yeah.
What's next for FNQ Travellers? What do you think? Just continue on doing what you're doing. When do you finish your degrees?
We're both done.
Finished? All over?
Yeah, we're full time working now.
Yeah, right. Doing stuff based on your degrees, or just what you can at the moment?
Yeah, you go nuts.
Both based on what we kind of studied. Very similar field.
What are you doing?
I work for Ozfish Australia.
Oh, righto.
Yeah,
right.
Just a project officer in Townsville here.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, the work, I love it. It's so much fun.
What is like, I know what Ozfish is, but what specific projects are you working on?
They've got a few up here in this region. It's like mostly from Cairns to Mackay region, but there's like a lot of fish weigh monitoring. So in the wet season, next week I'm going to the Burdekin, and you'll see what kind of fish are swimming upstream, downstream, like kind of get a gist of like barra migrations, jack migrations. It's very like interesting to see. Like there's like be like thousands of data inputs, and you kind of get to see the bigger picture of where, like, they're obviously a major role of fish that go out to the reef as well, like reef jacks and barra and stuff head out to the coast there. So yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
What have you learnt from that data?
I haven't really got into all that yet. There's like thousands of like data inputs that I haven't looked at. So yeah,
that's crazy. That's interesting too. Like it's interesting. Barramundi here interests me because like in Darwin, it's a similar principle. Like run off and build up and lots of stuff. There's a lot of real big fish, big coastal fish in the systems and all that sort of stuff, and at mouths of systems. And then the dry season, they just sort of disappear. There's a pretty big theory that they go wide and sit in like temperature control, sit in the column deep offshore, not like miles offshore, but just in holes or whatever, where there's like a static temperature gradient because I don't like fluctuations too much, right?
No.
So then here there's just almost no real big consistent jundies apart from in pockets. Further north, there's like north of Hinchy, there's a fair few up there and all that sort of stuff. But then down south, like Morrissey's and Horton and all that sort of stuff, there's all those like resident fish and 900s and all that sort of stuff. And there's a few meteries in there. Alligator Creek and the mouth and that, and along that coast and all that sort of stuff has a fair few big fish as well. But they seem like to only stick out on the coast they never seem to go into the systems.
Yeah, right.
And I wonder if it's because we don't have as huge, like we don't have a massive runoff here, like in Darwin. Like you get floodplain water just pumping out the rivers out the mouth, like the whole mouth is like tea-coloured water.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's interesting. And the Burdekin's one of those places that's very similar to Darwin because it's got such a massive system that flows down from the dam and it does flood and pumps a lot of water out. I'd be keen to hear what the data comes from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that published?
Yeah.
It will be published data.
Yeah, it's usually contracted by different sectors of the governments and things like that.
Interesting.
But Tallis is working a kind of similar field.
Yeah. We're both doing
Yeah.
sort of the exact same thing. I'm just working as an aquatic ecologist for the government. So, yeah, it's awesome. I'm doing a heap of...
Aquatic ecology.
Yeah, aquatic ecology. So it's all to do with... Well, our projects at the moment are all to do with how flow regimes are affecting different ecological assets that the government have identified are an ecological asset to an ecosystem, pretty much.
Pause. What does the government... What tools does the government use? Because I think they're full of shit for how they identify green zones and all that stuff. What tool does the government use to identify an ecological asset?
So, well, one of the projects I'm doing at the minute, we're looking at how certain flows that are being released from certain dams are affecting certain types of fish. There's certain types of fish which benefit from stable low flows for spawning, and then there's certain types of fish that benefit from medium flows, and there's certain types of fish like barra, for example, that will benefit from high flows, and they require that wet season to actually start their spawning cycle and actually get their gonads ready for all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm, as an ecologist, assessing if we are releasing enough water at certain times throughout the year that's going to benefit those native fish that are considered ecological assets.
So the fish, not the location.
No, the
sense.
fish. So an ecological asset is any sort of flora or fauna.
Organic organism.
Yeah. Which you can use to assess the health of a river system, essentially.
Yeah, it's like a key link in the chain. Yeah,
that's
interesting.
it.
So then what... Yeah, right. I've got so many questions. This shit interests me, that's all.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because it's multifaceted, right? Like, the government has political agenda, but also, like, an environmental responsibility, but also, like, a responsibility to the people to supply water, to supply power, like hydro and all that sort of stuff from dams. Do dams... Like, dams obviously influence that directly because we can control the discharge, right? So do you reckon a dam is detrimental to some species? Like, it sounds like you're trying to balance flow to accommodate barra, which like fast flow, like you said, and then other species that like a lower flow. Like, you're trying to stage that flow, or is it just a consistent discharge? Because you're trying to take that into account along with supplying town water to people too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my role as an ecologist, we obviously have multiple different teams within our department. So our department, it's just changed because we've had a government change. But
that's every time the Queensland
it.
government changes, they change the badges.
Yeah, we work called the Department of Regional Manufacturing and Water. So we have a heap of different teams within our sort of department, like compliance, ecologists, resource monitoring. My position in my aquatic ecology role is specifically the aquatic ecology. All I'm sort of reporting on and collecting data is for those ecological assets of those certain water plans. So I don't really have anything to do with those like those other decisions that are being made elsewhere with, I don't know, it might be the compliance of a certain landowner and how much water he's allowed to take out of that system, or or how much water is being released from a storage.
Does your information that you gather in your unit, your working group, whatever, do they talk to other working groups in the government? Because I find that's like a massive disconnect. A lot of the time is like everyone's doing their own bits of shit, but no one talks to make an executive decision that benefits everything.
For sure. We have meetings with those other colleagues that are working in those different teams, and we all inform them through ecological reports, and they'll all get grouped together by a heap of different scientists, a heap of people in those compliance teams, all at the same time. So everything is accounted for in all of our water plan reports. We got water plans the whole way up the state, and different ecological assets, and
how do you get that data?
Well,
the top 3 ways or whatever.
Yeah, okay. One of the projects I'm doing right now, I've been going down to Emerald, and like there'll be a certain release from Fairburn Dam, and we'll go out and set pike nets and catch native species, and see what species are there at that certain time. Like we might have closer to Christmas, we'll start having releases of upwards of 900 megalitres, and we'll want to start seeing those species that require those higher flow regimes actually
up there,
present and there at that time.
So then if you don't see them, you go, oh shit, there's a problem somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Or if we've had all that release and then we might not see them, a month later, then there might be a problem there. But it's awesome. Like we do odor-lift stuff.
Yeah, right.
Which I haven't actually done yet, but people in my team are doing it. That way we can actually identify when that spawning has occurred for that year class fish.
And whether or not those flow rates have influenced that, or made it happen earlier or later. Or that's cool.
Yeah, so
that's interesting shit.
Oh yeah, in the 10 months that I've worked there, I've pretty much travelled around the whole of Queensland in a year.
That's always valuable too. When you work, like, it's cool to do what you do, what both of you guys are doing, because like you have, what you're doing has a direct impact on what you love doing recreationally. You call it direct, indirect. It's both, I think, like to a degree, because like runoff affects the reef, as you would know too, and it's probably a bit more agricultural than it is sort of what you guys are talking about, but it's all same
for sure,
to a degree.
It's direct learning, really. Like I sit there and like I might be writing a report on like a stock assessment based off like the Fitzroy area, and like I'll just be learning stuff the whole time, because I'll get a week at work where I just get to read reports about people that have been doing research about Barra in the Fitzroy area. Like, it's sick. It's good fun. Right. I've actually been getting distracted at work. like I should be reading about a certain characteristic, and I'll get lost reading other stuff about Barra, and I'll be like, oh,
yeah. And that Fitzroy Delta is like the place to do it too.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible, man. Since it's become net free, like years ago now, it's like it would be better, I reckon, in my opinion. It is the best Barra fishery in Australia, bar none. Because like Darwin, the NT and stuff is good, but there's like the quantity, probably the top end. But if you're looking for those big, consistent monster girls, like they're the ones that are in that Fitzroy Delta system where it has been net free, and it's got such a massive, long, deep system, and then it breaks out into that delta where there's just so much country there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some like new data for up here, like from the Fitzroy area all the way to up here, where that net free stuff has just sort of come. It's just sort of started. I'd love to see some data in the next couple of years, because I feel like all the stock assessments now are still. I feel like all that net stuff that's just been introduced hasn't actually been able to fully have an effect on the environment as yet. Like, I feel like it'll just go crazy. You know what I mean? I have seen heaps of different articles about people saying they've been catching a heap more consistent 90 models in that Fitzroy area compared to, like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah. What's a barrel's lifespan? Is roughly like 10 plus, I think, like for a big fish.
You know what? Couldn't even tell you.
I have a funny feeling Johnny Mitchell told me. I did a podcast with Johnny, but he wouldn't let me air it.
Yeah, right.
We went so down the rabbit hole. He's on my list to get one there. But he, I think it was like 10 years or so, 10 plus.
Yeah,
for like a 110, 120.
Yeah.
Like a big fish.
I feel like all that net free zone could be like more of an exponential kind of period. Like
for
small
sure.
period for the first like few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, while everything's got the time to settle and like work out population and all that sort of stuff where it's not pressured.
Yeah.
Well, it's recreationally pressured, but that's nowhere near the difference. I just think commercial netting's the most outdated, stupid
It's
fucking
outrageous.
thing. Man, it is just so like, you don't need wild caught barra that bad because the farm barra are like just as good to a degree.
Yeah.
Taste wise, and you couldn't if you got to buy a barramundi, you can't taste the fucking difference. I don't care what anyone says.
No, you can't.
You cannot taste the difference. And 9 times out of 10 when you buy it from a fucking, it's because people put it in the same bucket as farm salmon. Farm salmon is like awful, period. Farm barramundi is like quite, in my understanding, is quite ecologically sustainable. And you cannot tell the fucking difference in a restaurant when it's cooked in a high-end restaurant anyway, or it's battered and deep fried. You wouldn't fucking know. But I just think it's the most outdated system. People make a living from it, and people have to make a living and provide for their families. I get all that sort of stuff, but I think it's just so like unnecessary these days. The government should be prioritising buying back licences and doing things like that. I also think that we don't think about it properly in the way that, for example, Morrissey's down here is net free, but right next to it, the Horton is netted, and all of the feeder creeks like Bomber, Baratas, all those are all netted as well.
Yeah, right.
But if you close that beta netting, all of those fisheries would pick up, right? Like, I just think that's, and it happens at the Daly River as well. The Daly River sits in a massive bay called Anson Bay. And it's a huge river. It's I don't even know how long it is. Hundreds of kilometres long.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Hundreds of kilometres long. Spring fed, runs all year. Tidal, but upstream runs all year. It sits in a massive bay with all these coastal feeder creeks and everything. Massive floodplain system. Humongous amount of fresh water comes in and out of there. Massive tides. They net the shit out of everywhere except the mouth.
Yeah.
So the mouth to mouth, the point to point, is net free.
Yeah.
But the bay itself is like go your hardest. So like, and most of those big fish, big fish, are in the bay, and they're the ones that get netted and all that sort of stuff. And I've seen people go this wild caught barra, man. I've seen those things stiff as a board, glassy eyed in nets for 2 days while I've been out there fishing, because we used to do 3-4 day overnighters, stuck in nets.
Yeah.
And they won't collect those nets of fish for days.
Yeah.
And like, they hauling in, fill up tinnies and boats and stuff, just chockers, pile up barra, sitting in a boat, bake in there, put them on the thing, and then make them sound better than farm barramundi that are caught, brain spiked, put straight on ice and bled properly. Like, I don't understand it, eh?
Crazy.
It's people's lack of education, I think, is probably the big thing. But I think the government has a responsibility to really look at that properly, because the barramundi fishery is huge. Yeah, you can close season, but you can close season to recce's, but you can still net. I don't know about Queensland, but in the territory you can still net. So like, why not close it? Period. Get someone doing something else. It's hard.
Yeah. No, I think it will get there.
I think we're on track to like, and it's what you guys are doing, right, that directly correlates, like that data, because it's like, it's easy for me to say go and make that decision, but when it has to be put on paper and you go, you need to close these fisheries, like the bays of these fisheries off, not just the river mouths. They go, why?
Yeah, that's it.
Because I said so.
You've got to have that hard data evidence.
Because if we don't, this is the risk that we're taking, type thing. And I think it's a hard line to walk with policy and legislation and practical application, and then also everything else that affects like people's livelihoods, taxpayer dollars,
Yeah.
restaurant industry, whatever else you want to add to the mix. Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Are you going to say something? You
No,
look like
no,
you're real deep in.
No, I was just thinking. I love this
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah, it's good.
I enjoy talking.
Yeah.
I enjoy learning about this kind of stuff, because it's not as black and white as what people make out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things at play like that, and a lot of people, like Parliament people, like I don't really like politics in any way, or politicians, but a lot of them just lack the education, and they're trying to they get put in as a environment minister when their qualification is politics, and they might have some form of environment degrees or whatever, but they don't have a direct understanding of like what actually happens on ground. They're only given data, and the data might be skewed or not enough, or there might be a political push by someone, and it allows them to get more votes, and everything's all sort of, I don't know, it blurs the lines. It's hard. It's a rabbit hole, man.
Yeah.
I don't think there
It's
is
hard
a
to
lot
comment.
of like data in that respect of the net free versus non-net free, like at all.
No, not
Like
yet
through
anyway.
uni, we were helping a PhD student with odorless and reds and nannies, and like their ages and like things like that, and their length, and how which zone they were caught from. I can't really remember the results, but it was like positive results. But like data like that just hasn't been found out yet.
Yeah. I don't reckon they've had enough time.
No.
Just need a bit more time, I reckon.
I think
it'll get there.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. Like, I think stuff with Spanish mackerel and things like that, and that's the sort of stuff that's like hard for me to swallow, because like the commercial quota is mixed in with the rec quota. When the commercial people take a squillion time, I don't even know how many times more, but I can guarantee it'll be a lot more than reckies would take on Spanish mackerel. I understand that Spanish mackerel is Spanish mackerel, it doesn't matter who takes them. But would you not have two separate quotas and split them based on, well, you actually have, you have highly accurate data, as long as no one's taking the piss, of how many Spanish mackerel are taken by commercial operators. So you have that data already. Then you can estimate, based on boat ramp surveys or whatever else, of recreational data of Spanish mackerel, and then work out, okay, reckies take 20%. I don't know what the percentage are. I'm talking at the arse here. I could be completely wrong. But 20% of the total take for the year. Commercial people take 80% of the total take. So why aren't the quotas separate? And when the commercial people hit the commercial quota, that's it. Licenses are void for that rest of the year, and the reckies remain until that 20% is met.
Yeah.
Like,
It seems very simple to talk about,
yeah.
But yeah.
I just find it's like they take the easiest decision and they lump everything into one bucket, or they do it to the opposite effect and then they separate everything where it doesn't make sense. It's so hard. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they'll get on political rants here and carry on all night and change nothing either. My podcast isn't big enough to have political influence. Nor do I care that much. I care about, like, obviously the fishery and all that sort of stuff, and like being able to like people's kids can still go out and do well fishing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's interesting doing what you guys are doing. Like, I think there's huge value in that, and there is a lack of data. There was a lack of value for it, and now it's like there's an importance to it, which is good.
Yeah.
What do you think you guys are going to do? Completely off topic. What do you guys think you're going to do now? Like, now that you've got the big boat, are you going to start doing more content? Are you going to start putting more YouTube stuff out, or are you going to try and commercialize yourselves? What's the plan with FNQ Travellers?
For now, like, we're just going to start pumping the YouTube. Like, we had a good crack at that at the start. It's just hard to really get going there, so we're just trying to, I don't know, transfer a bit of that volume over to YouTube, because that's, I don't know, we really like doing all that kind of stuff, and we're starting to do a bit more vlog style stuff, or more personal stuff, and actually talking to the camera and not just filming it trout or something.
The personal stuff's fun.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's really cool to have that personal aspect to the stuff we're videoing now.
But you can still do that, right? Because vlogging is like raw, authentic.
Yeah.
Unless you want to pretend, but like it's raw.
Yeah.
It can be raw, authentic, and personal. You can still.
Yeah.
It's just longer form, right?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
You can create something that's still meaningful to your friends and family, and still that can be still your main purpose, but then you can just chuck it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
The problem is if you want to go like, well, I want to make something on YouTube, you're putting out an episode a week.
That's it.
I respect YouTube vloggers purely for the fact that it is so hard, especially those offshore people, right? Like Maddie and Brooksy and all those guys. It's like going offshore and trying to get content when you're at the mercy of weather and tides and fishing and expenses. Like, it's fucking expensive to run a boat, period.
Yeah.
You can get a brand new boat and the motherfucker still costs you money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. So, like, you're at the mercy of all those variables, and then you're trying to make a living off YouTube, and it's a slow start.
Yeah.
To commercialize that. So I take my hat off to those kind of people that are doing things like that. Like Bowley's been super consistent. And I don't really follow a lot of YouTubers and stuff, but you can see every now and then like who's doing well and who's not.
Yeah, definitely. I've struggled recently to watch a heap of YouTube video. It's tough, especially when you're making them yourself.
Yeah.
Like, we'd only be able to bust out a video every couple of weeks. It does take us a while. It takes me a while to edit and get all that stuff how I want it.
I don't watch anybody's shit.
Nah.
Yeah.
I literally do not, because like I know I can. I'm not saying that I would go out and do it as good or better than the people that are out there doing it consistently, because I just wouldn't. But I know that like if I had the free time and stuff, I could go and do it.
Yeah.
Or I've done it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't want to watch it. But when a lot of the people that like that sort of stuff only get to go out once every blue moon, or they save up all their leave and then they'll go and book a guided trip for 2 weeks on Odyssey or whatever out the shelf, and they watch videos all year to hype themselves up and plan for gear and buy lures and buy gear and all that stuff. But when you can go out and do it every weekend and you live in the place that's the mecca for it, it just isn't the same. And it's interesting that you said that, because like I was exactly the same. It got to the point where I did it so much where I just didn't want to watch anyone else doing it.
Yeah, same.
Now I'm at the point where I like short form content, like reels and that sort of stuff, but like addicted to films and documentaries. And I couldn't even care less what the topic is. I'm going in there and I'm like, oh, lighting and like, oh, the story and like the colors and like how did he grade that?
Yeah.
What's that audio? Like thinking about all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And
like now I'm like addicted. If I watch anything on YouTube, it's educational based stuff to help me grow in that's my new thing. I've been doing it for a long time, but I really want to focus next year on doing more in-house films and telling people's stories and stuff like that. I'm so done with, I like reels and things like that, and they have a purpose and they're good for advertising and they're good for engagement and all that sort of stuff, but I don't know why Instagram got rid of longer form landscape based content. Like why get rid of it anyway? Because you just shut the market off to a whole heap of people. Yeah. Films, it's so hard. And then YouTube's just swallowed that up. Right? So YouTube goes, well, fuck, we'll keep long form content, but we'll also do shorts. Yeah. But Instagram had to follow TikTok and fuck it for everybody. Instagram used to be so fucking good, and now it's turned into this thing where you got to create reels, which again, like there's nothing wrong with it, and there is some amazing content out there in reels, but it's so hard. You can't tell a story in 7 seconds.
No, you can't.
It's good for like, oh, that's sick, and then 24 hours later I've forgotten about it. Yeah. But like it's sick to look at, and it's sick if you've done it and you've got a big catalogue and you can go back through and watch all the sick shit you've done, and then you can go, oh, that Spano, because like the rocket launching down the water, that Spano was a sick eat. That was that trip that we did all this stuff, and you talk about it with your mates when you were there. But you'll do well to find somebody that like will go back into your Instagram feed, scroll down, unless they've just found you, scroll back down and go, oh, remember that Spano eat that the boys got 2 years ago? No one's ever going to go back into Instagram and find that shit, man.
Not even us half the time, really.
Legit. It's funny. I've gotten way more into like storytelling and stuff like that, and I really want to start prioritizing doing way more films and stuff. And there's so many people with interesting stories, which is why I started doing video versions of these, is because like I got no excuse to not film it. It's just pure fucking, no, I don't know about laziness, we just couldn't be fucked. I don't know. Did like 40 episodes audio, and I've got the opportunity to do video, so why not? And then everyone's got a story, regardless of how boring you think you are. I can guarantee I can make at least an hour long conversation with anybody you put in front of me. And it's definitely not hard. Like, we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah, right.
Oh, damn.
See, I probably only thought we'd be going for half an hour.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
It's weird how it works, and everybody has this exact
Yeah.
same reaction.
Yeah. Okay.
It's interesting. Like, everybody has a story. Like, I would really like, you guys, for example, would be sick to go and do a semi-short film on, interview you to the stuff we've spoken about, and do a semi-short film on. Like, it'd be cool to tell like people's stories in a way where they're not just Instagram celebrities or Instagram reels or whatever else. Like, the back end, a lot of people don't know anything outside of what the visuals that they see on YouTube or socials, but to put the personalism into it, I think there's like huge value in that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what rant I was on then, but I just felt like I just had to touch on it.
No, I reckon that's what
Nail
I was
on the head.
Yeah, I know what I was. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was telling about the vlog style stuff. Was like, there's value in you guys doing that, because you have done cool shit, and you will continue to do cool shit.
Yeah, I spoke to a mate on the phone about the YouTube stuff probably a week ago, and he just watched one of our most recent videos, and he just said, man, keep the talking to the camera. Like, it's so interesting when you actually talk to the camera. Like, your mates out there having a good time. You're making it personal. He's like, that's what I want to see. And I'm sure everyone else wants to see that too. It's awkward, honestly. Like, first couple times we're like, okay, let's really try and give this a good crack and get comfortable talking behind the camera. It was just the cringiest shit ever. Like,
I'll just laugh at you.
I know. And you feel like an idiot doing it too, because you're like, but like, you do get used to it.
The more you do it, same as anything.
For sure. And I feel like I did start getting used to it, and then we kind of stopped the YouTube thing for a bit, and then
dropped off.
Now we're back at it again, and like at that cringe part again, just getting through it now. But it is enjoyable once you're comfortable.
It's all about putting people, like, especially with vlogs, right? It's putting people in your boat with you.
Yeah, that's it.
While you're there.
Yeah.
And like the educational side of it as well. Like, it doesn't have to be just slaying fish flat out. It can be telling stories. It can be like educating people on what you're doing and why you're doing it. Yeah. If you're willing to share that information. Which is another thing that's quite interesting, because like a lot of people get the shits with YouTubers for sharing secrets, but the fucking YouTuber, people take information from other people and use it and then share it. That's probably not on. No. But if you found it and you figured it out yourself, it's your intellectual property, and you have the right to do whatever the fuck you want with it. Plaster it all over the internet if you want. Don't if you don't want to. But also don't get the shits. If you're willing to share it and then it gets out, and then you see someone fishing your spots or doing the same shit you're doing, or there's less fish there or whatever because people are saying it, that's on you. Yeah, but like, people shouldn't be hounded because they choose to do that with the information that they gained themselves and they earned with their blood, sweat, and tears and money and to get to that point.
Yeah, and probably just like keeping that in mind too when we're doing that sort of stuff. Like, I can definitely see you don't want to ruin it for anyone. Like, especially the locals, if you're going to a new spot and like you might vlog that whole section. I feel like you do anything in your power to try and not make sure anyone knows where you are.
You still got to be respectful with it, like backgrounds and things like that. Like, there's no need to be like fully forthcoming with it. But then again, like, the other thing is, right, you going and doing that, the whole of Australia isn't going to go fish that fucking spot. It's going to be like the 15 people that had the shits with you because they've grew up fishing there. Like, does that really hurt the fishery? Nah, it just hurts some fucking egos and feelings at the end of the day. That's my opinion on it anyway. I think people overreact, because at the end of the day, it's just fucking fishing. Yeah. And you go there to enjoy yourself at the end of the day. Like, I miss it. I don't fish a lot because I'm so busy these days, but like, I really want to prioritise more of that next year too. Like, way more fly fishing and way more spearing and my freezer's empty. I need to go slay bad. Bad. I need a big, dirty, yakka-ridden nanny mission. Just like fill it.
Every now and then you need one of them.
You do. You have to just go out there and just destroy things. Yeah. And just and then spend all of the next day filleting. Yeah, which is like some of the best fun you might have. Yeah. Some of those days where you come back on a Sunday and you've got a heap of fish to fillet, and
all the boys just drinking beers and filleting.
Man,
All hands on deck.
It's like
It's
sometimes a
actually
game
good
of
fun.
footy might be on. It's just the best day.
playing music, and then like half the fish go straight in, and like a handful of boys or whatever is like battering and or crumbing and cooking up.
Everyone's got their own jobs. We've got 2 people on vacuum sealers, the best filleters on the filleting tables, skinners on skinners.
And it might only be you two that go out, and then as you come back into town, it's like, hey, I've got like 19, 20 fish, 20 down a guy in the esky, I need a hand. And then like 4 or 5 boys are there, there's beers, and I miss all those days, man. It's so good.
It's great. It does. It brings all your mates, like all your mates are just like, yeah, sick, I want to come and have a look at them. And
it's the same with hunting and with me too. There's like the same principles, like sharing all that food too. Like it's so good cooking a big feed of fish for people that you've gone out and got, and just having them around and stuff. I miss the social side of it as well. Even if you weren't out there, even like just trading fish for deer meat and like all that sort of stuff, there's huge value in that. It's sick. I got a friend, Brock, who I haven't seen him in ages, but we used to do a lot of fishing together, and it was so good. Like I remember one of these trips we bagged out by Smoko on Nanagai. Like and never got touched by a shark. Not one shark on this random lump we found. Destroyed fish. Came home and we're just like, nah, ice them down. Come around in the morning. Came around at 8, I think 7 or 8 in the morning. We didn't finish filleting until, or finished everything, clean up and everything, till like 2 or 3 o'clock. But it was still like not a chore.
No.
Because we were brining the fish and also stuff, weighing them and all that sort of shit too. So
we always like to like really have a good look at the fish too. Like that sounds weird, but like
but you're uni degree guys too with marine science. So
but we
kind of less
just
weird.
The
Still
boys
weird.
call it something else, but they call us fish fuckers. That's what they reckon.
What, like dissecting them or what?
No. When we give them a fillet, we have like I've taken a couple otoliths out of a red just for a bit of fun.
Good.
But
they're cool though, because like aging fish and stuff. I've actually got a couple of like I got a tusky head and a jack head in my freezer. Not same principle, same, but like I got a friend of mine that's gonna strip them all down, pull all the bones apart, and build them back together. You're probably, how old are you guys?
I'm 22.
24. Will Collins, he would have finished.
He used to be a tutor.
I was gonna say, like,
I've been to the reef. I've been to the reef with Will before.
There you go. I figured. I don't even know why. I didn't even realize.
He's our lab tech for a year as well.
He's a ninja. He's good.
So
he's going to do them for me. He doesn't know it yet, but he agreed to it years ago. So I've kept the heads, and now he's got to do it for me.
What is the process? Isn't it like? Can you get the ants to do it for you? Like they eat away at all the flesh and everything, and they clean all the bones.
I think they pull the whole. I don't know the full answer, so I'll have to confirm. But I'm pretty sure they clean the whole head down, pull every bone apart, so it's fully disassembled skeleton of the head, and then they re-glue it all back together and make a skull. Is my understanding, because they do it for a part of a assessment or study.
Yes, I do recall the subject.
In
that
Dave, whatever the lecturer's team is. Anyway, it's like a whole process to it. Which is sick.
They do it for like a cod or something, I think.
Right.
It's cool. He's got like in his lab, there's like red emperor, there's bump-headed parrotfish, because he's got a license or can get a license or something to take pretty much anything. So they go and they get bump-headed, bump-heads, Mary Wrasse, like it's crazy.
Wild.
So which is sick.
I've got a 20-kilo mackie head somewhere in the garden where one of the boys put it in.
What are you bringing 20-kilo mackerel home for? Did anyone get sick of terror or what?
Yeah, someone did.
Did you? Did they actually get sick?
Yeah.
Our mate Ruben.
I don't know who that is for some reason. Why don't I know who that is? Do I know who that is?
No, I don't reckon.
Nah.
Don't reckon?
No.
No, maybe not.
He's a medicine student.
Yeah, med student.
Vet? No.
No.
Just medicine. No, I wouldn't know him then.
He's a funny dude.
Right. He got sick.
Everyone had a good bowl. And I think he had 2.
We made a...
he had too much.
Yeah, we made... What did we make? We made like a
curry.
Thai green curry. Yeah. And it actually wasn't us that kept it. It was the other boat on the mission that kept it.
He kept it.
He kept it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I didn't know that mackerel were like heavy carriers.
Bad.
I know.
Like almost guaranteed, if you go to 20-kilo mackerel home, that you'll have sig.
Yeah. Anyway, we all had a round of it because Like, that's what we like to do when we get back from
Yeah.
fishing. 20 people come over, and like you
Eat
said,
the fish.
but then he would have had another couple rounds of it the next day and then the day after that, because he obviously was just hooking into it. And then him and another mate were at uni one day, and he started getting pins and needles in his legs and in his hands, and said, "If you don't take me to the hospital now, I think I have a heart attack." And that was it.
Shouldn't laugh, but
No,
holy.
I know.
Collapsed or what?
No, I don't think he did, but it was a show when it happened. Like, I remember Lewis calling me and being like, "Man, don't know what's going on with Ruben." And then they were sitting there at the doctor thinking about what could have gone on, and they were like, "Was that mackerel?"
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah.
Nasty things, man.
They didn't diagnose him with a mackerel.
No, we
Yeah.
just thought.
I don't like eating
do
them,
that.
period. Like, even small ones, just legal. I just
Yeah.
am not
Yeah,
about it,
right.
eh?
Well, we wouldn't. I probably wouldn't eat a trout over what? I don't know. We sort of get them in that sort of 50 to 65 centimetre range, and then honestly anything over that, because of the amount of fish we eat a shitload of fish. Like, I'll be making like trout fried rice, nana guy fried rice for lunch for work every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trout skins,
Yeah.
scraping all the, like, out of a filleted trout, like scraping all the everything out of all the rib cage and everything, making poke bowls.
Yeah.
Smoking. I used to make like a really crazy smoked fish dip.
Yeah.
Put the heads and the fish frames in the smoker.
Wow.
Pull them out and then peel the skin off. Scrape all the cheek meat out and the head meat from behind, like the head and everything.
Wow.
And then scrape it all into a blender. Cream cheese,
Wow.
ricotta,
Wow.
spring onions, chilies.
Would you eat that?
Yeah.
Would
Sounds
you?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, so good.
Yeah.
And then put that on like crackers or whatever
Yeah.
else, or use it as like a base for tacos.
Yeah.
So good, man.
Yeah, but like what I was saying, I probably wouldn't eat a fish over, even a trout over that 60, 65
Yeah, I
centimetre
don't
now,
choose
because
not
of
to.
how much we eat.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, like if like you're sharing fish with family or friends that might not eat that much fish, then they're probably definitely okay to eat a 65 centimetre trout.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh yeah, he's spewing. And you know what's the worst? We do like dinners at home. So like we're busy during the week. Like we go to work and go to the gym, and then the boys will all cook dinners, and we do a heap of fish dinners obviously. And we'll cook a big fish dinner, and then we'll go, shit, Ruben, we meant to cook for Ruben as well, and he just misses out on dinner.
Yeah, because he would like have to be super careful.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the corner with his grilled burger.
Yeah, he always
Yeah.
orders grilled or something like that.
Eating steak. Poor bastard. That'll
Yeah.
teach him for being a pig.
Yeah.
Well, we've been going for over an hour and a half. We
Yeah.
probably should can it. It's 9:30 at night. And I should
Yeah.
probably get out of this store so
Yeah,
Renee can lock it up.
Sunday we got
Shout
work
out to
tomorrow.
Tackle World too. Like,
Yeah.
Renee is in here at the moment. She opened up for us to be able to sit here and set this up, which is probably the best, in my opinion, the best local store up here.
Yeah.
Townsville Tackle World. Great people too, and they're engaged. They're heavily involved in the community here, fishing community too. Like sponsor a lot of events and part of the game fishing club and all that sort of stuff. So, I'd do it an injustice if I didn't mention how thankful I was to be able to sit in here and move rod racks around and spend an hour here setting up, making you guys set up.
Yeah, no,
and then coming and sitting down
It's
having
good
a yarn. But no, I really appreciate your time. It was cool to learn a bit more about you and stuff, because I obviously knew you existed. I knew you were up here, but didn't really know the full story. I think it was like a good chat. We'll have to get you back on again too after you get this new boat back on the water and
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
talk about some more adventures.
Yeah, there's heaps more to talk about, I feel like.
I think so too.
Definitely.
Thanks heaps for your time, boys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ta.
Bye, everybody.